Creating experiential learning situation. Lesson plans and transaction method of the following lesson or topic is given in the next few pages. 1. Lost Spring Stories of Stolen Childhood from Class 11th, Hornbill NCERT. Second topic, Indirect Speech for Class 8th Grammar. Lesson Plan 1. Class 11, Subject English. Time required 6 periods of 40 minutes each. Lesson Lost Spring Stories of Stolen Childhood. Learning Outcomes. At the end of the class, the students will read the story with comprehension, present their inference of the story, interpret the title of the story, critically analyze the problems faced by children like Sahib and Mukesh, discuss the role of society and government in such a scenario, compare the conditions of different classes that exist in society. Pre-activity. Students will be asked to write in groups the social evils that exist in their surroundings and the various seasons and the related phases of human life. For example, spring for childhood. This will be followed by a class discussion. Introduction. 2 documentaries will be shown to the students. The first one, NDTV Special Project on Rag Pickers from YouTube. Second one, documentary by Bloomberg Quint Made in India, The Bangle Makers of Firozabad, also available on YouTube. Core activity. The following situations will be given to the groups to develop a role play of 3 to 4 minutes depicting a day in the lives of a 15-year-old whose mother works as a local vegetable seller, a 9-year-old who lives in a slum, an 11-year-old who begs in local trains, a 13-year-old whose parents work in the bank, a 14-year-old whose parents are successful actors in Bollywood. The students should be free to make their stories as per their understanding. Reflection. The groups will then compare the similarities and dissimilarities among the children that they met through the role play. The students will be divided into groups. They will read the story Lost Spring and comprehend in groups. The reasons for the similarities as well as dissimilarities between the children of their role play as well as the children they read about in the text will be discussed. Groups will share their remarks on the presentation of each other in terms of what they agree or disagree on. Conceptualization. The students will write on the topic, why should child labor be completely abolished? The students will speak on the role of society in the upliftment of the downtrodden with special emphasis on making policies and implementation of rules. They will be able to answer the textual questions. Extended activity. Make a list of policies that exist in India for the upliftment of the poor and deprived. Extended learning. Make a list of policies that exist in India for the upliftment of the poor and deprived. Research on the concept of vicious circle of poverty and write how it relates to the lives of Sahib and Mukesh. The students can also approach the political science or economics teacher for collecting more information. Assessment. The teacher will develop a subjective test for assessing the level of understanding. Another advantage of experiential learning is that the teacher can assess the students throughout the session and not necessarily at the end of the lesson. Lesson Plan 2. Class 8. Subject English. Time required 4 periods of 40 minutes each. Lesson Indirect Speech. Learning Outcomes. At the end of the class, the students will understand and explain the purpose of indirect speech, differentiate between direct and indirect speech, change direct speech to indirect speech, report an incident from the past. Pre-activity. The core activity will be feasible if the students are already aware of linkers, pronouns and verbs. A short activity can be done to ensure an effective recalling of previous knowledge. Experiential learning takes place when the learner is willing and prepared. Divide the class into groups and hand out one article from any children's magazine to them. Ask half the groups to encircle auxiliary verbs from the given article and the rest to encircle pronouns. The groups will make a list, and along with the facilitator, they will revise their knowledge of auxiliary verbs and pronouns. This activity will ensure the readiness of the learners. Introduction. The game of Chinese Whisper will be played to indirectly introduce the concept of quoting someone. The students will be taken outside in an open space and they will be asked to form a chain. Then, the teacher will whisper the sentence, "I want a black pen of any color. I really do." It can be any sentence, proverb, joke, etc., in the ear of one of the learners. The first learner will whisper the same sentence to the next in line, and so on. At the end of the game, the last person in the line will loudly say the sentence and it will be matched with the actual sentence. In this way, the facilitator will speak about how they were quoting a sentence, which can be called direct speech. It will be emphasized that while quoting somebody, we need to use the exact words of the speaker. Then, the concept of indirect speech will be introduced with the help of the sentence used for the game. The students will be asked to share examples of instances where indirect speech is used. Core activity. The following games will be played in the class as grammar topics need a lot of practice. Pen and paper methods can come at a later stage. Game 1. Mediator, please solve the issue. The students will be divided into groups of 3 members each. Each group will have a situation seeking resolution of a conflict between 2 characters, and the third member will be the mediator. The situations could be between siblings, business, partners, friends, politicians, etc. The 2 members engaged in the conflict will stand at 2 opposite ends of the room and they will communicate their thoughts and arguments to the mediator loudly. The mediator will go to the other person and convey the message out loud because this activity is being observed by the rest of the groups. This will continue till the solution is reached and the mediator will announce the resolution. Game 2. Spokesperson. The students will be paired. The teacher can try and pair students who are not seen interacting with each other frequently during the class. All the pairs will be asked to talk to each other for 5 minutes and get to know the other person. Give the students pointers like hobbies, favorites, passion, family, aim in life, etc. Now they will be asked to introduce each other using the information that they have gathered. This can also be used as an ice-breaking activity. Reflection. At the end of the game, the students will reflect on the transformation of sentences with the change in speakers. While Alicia had said, "I love eating mangoes and I also enjoy climbing trees," her partner said, "Alicia loves eating mangoes and she also enjoys climbing trees." They will reflect on the parts which were unchanged and the parts that remained unchanged. They will make a list of changes they observed during the conversion. Conceptualization. The students will understand the meaning behind the terms direct and indirect speech. The students will conceptualize the rules for changing direct speech into indirect under the guidance of the teacher. The following points will be made clear. The use of that, which is called a linker, the change in pronouns, change in verb tense. For example, direct speech would say, "Noor said, I am really thankful." Direct speech, "Noor said, I am really hungry." Indirect speech, "Noor said that she was really hungry." Extended learning. The students will be asked to write a report on the day's activities. Assessment. Around 50 sentences will be written both in direct and indirect speech on separate strips of paper and they will be jumbled up. The class has to categorize them. The worksheet will be given to the students to their understanding.